big block on James's drive, but it just seemed, I don't recall a game this year where so many different guys were so disruptive with their hands on defense, whether it was rebounds, blocking shots, deflections. I know you guys keep the numbers on that, but how nice was it to see a team play that aggressive defensively, just messing with their possessions and their efficiency on their possessions?
Yeah, I think, Joe, we try to do that, but against them because they're so, whether it's Harden in that slot spacing and or Embiid in that area in the middle of the floor, low post, you just gotta get in there. You really gotta get in there, and you gotta be as active as you can. I thought we fouled him a little bit too much in the third. I think he maybe got there 9 or 10 times in the third quarter. First half, we did a good job, but it was a night where we didn't shoot the ball particularly well, especially from three, and I think our defense kind of kept us in, and game went kind of back and forth. We responded, they responded. That happened, quite a few times. But to your point, I did think that was a real big key in the game, just in terms of us providing help and having bodies in those spots where we could get our hands on some balls and generate some turnovers or get out on the break, or just to your point, just disrupt their flow.
What did you like about Derek tonight that, he isn't always in that rotation? Obviously, you were a man down with Caruso. Well, what in the matchup wanted you to keep going with him?
I obviously with Javonte coming back, I think those two guys had paired very well. I tried to in the first half. I wanted to see what it would look like, taking Vooch off a little bit earlier and letting Vooch play with the second unit and not have to match his minutes with Embiid. And then let Drum kind of come in and play and see what that looked like. And it was fine. But I thought Vooch in that group was playing pretty well in the third, especially later in the third. So Vooch went pretty deep. And then I just decided to start Javonte and DJ together in that fourth. And then they were really trying to, I think, protect Embiid with the foul trouble. So they were moving him around. But what happened was we were able to kind of get DJ in a lot of pick and roll actions with him. And then he found ways to get into the pocket, some slashes to the rim, active block at the end of the game. So it was just, I felt, with Reed being out there, they really don't post him very much. He's more of a roller. I thought we could switch a little bit more and maybe kind of use our length and the ability to switch some with those two guys, Javonte and DJ. And, Javonte, I think I mentioned before the game, we weren't going to keep him too long minute-wise, but DJ, I think, was playing well. I kind of rode him for a while, and then I thought he got a little bit tired.
Last one for me, then. The first time this organization has ever beat Embiid, that's pretty amazing. I mean, he's missed some games, obviously, with injuries, but the first time ever beating him, I mean, does that kind of sink in? And did you know that, obviously?
Well, I knew it had been a long time since they had beaten Philly. And I know last time we won, he obviously didn't play. But yeah, I mean, they've been dominant over us, and in particular, last year. And not to say, but I'm saying last year with this group, they were pretty dominant. So, the first game at our place was really competitive. I thought Embiid made a couple really tough clutch shots, for them as the game came down to the wire. He didn't play the second game here. Then the third game, he did play, and we kind of went back and forth, and we were able to kind of make a few more plays at the end of the game. But they're a good team. They are where they are in the standings, after whatever it is, 72 games for a reason. They're really good defensively. You have matchup problems with Embiid and Harden. They're good passers. They're high IQ. But they're good on both ends of the floor. And then obviously Maxey, Milton, Shake Milton coming off the bench. They just got a lot of different guys that are good. And listen, they've won 9 out of 10. So they've been playing really good basketball. I don't think it was a great offensive night for either team in particular in terms of flow, but I think both teams competed really hard. And like I said, they're a hard team to play against.
You've talked all season about the necessity of this team grinding out wins, and now you've got these 2 double overtime wins in the last couple of days. Just what does this mean for this team to kind of be able to figure out those big moments at this stretch of the season?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't want to say we've figured anything out, because I think anytime you feel like you figured something out, you lose an opportunity to grow, right? So, but I think the one thing we have done, at least of late, which has been something we've struggled with, is, whatever word, let go of the rope, frustration, disappointment, like runs and can't shut them off, and it just kind of like snowballs, and we just can't put the brakes on to stop it. Up 27 against Miami, it wasn't the prettiest 12 or 14 minutes from about the 10-minute mark in the third period all the way down till about 8 minutes, but we kept grinding and playing. The Minnesota game, the same thing. Here tonight, the same thing. We just got to compete, and we got to play with an urgency and a toughness and a physicality. And when things don't go well, to me, it's the adversity and the challenge and the difficulty where you got to pull together as a group, not individually, as a group. And I like our huddles a lot more in terms of the communication. There were times, I think, in the past, sometimes we get a little bit quiet. I think guys are trying to internalize what they have to do, but we got to get to a place that we have to do it together. It's not, everybody's got a job to do, but we got to do our jobs together. So I think I'm hopeful that maybe that's been help us grow, just to have that kind of mentality to fight and compete in those moments. And I think we've struggled in those moments, quite honestly. In the last couple moments, we've gotten the outcome we've wanted in terms of the result. But I do, like, even if we would have lost, I really feel like we were battling and competing.
In the big picture, what can this do for you guys as you're fighting for the playoffs? Can this kind of win?
In terms of the standings, or just being overall?
In terms of your confidence, being able to come here and beat those guys, beat these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's the NBA. It's one game. I try not to really, listen, they're a really good team. They're really good at home, as I mentioned. They've won 9 out of 10. But, I'm sure they'll look at the film and see things that they've could have done differently. So we'll look at the film and feel the same way. I mean, it's just one game. I think that if you get into a situation where, your confidence rides on the external result of winning and losing, you don't have a lot of confidence. You gotta, when you go through those moments, I think, against Minnesota double overtime, this game, you're in these moments, I think you hopefully learn how to handle those moments. And it's got nothing to do with Philly. It's about how do we handle those moments. And how do we handle the moments when Miami's making a run, or we're up by 2 and we lose possession and, we get a stop, but it's really more about us. So I don't think that I've ever really been a big believer of like, hey, you beat this team, so therefore we feel great about ourselves. But then you come back and lose to a team that has a losing record in the bottom of the standings. Is that now you should not have any confidence? It's the NBA. It's about trying to play, to a standard you want to play to as a team against everybody, not just because Philly. But listen, I got a lot of respect for them and Doc, and they're really, really good, and they're where they are in this race for a reason. They're a really, really good team.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.